understanding why and how breakups happen. This is the topic for today's video. Got a lot to say on this. I have my notes. Without further ado, let's get right into it. The first thing you must understand is that breakups always and only happen due to a drop and a loss in emotional attraction. The only thing that has changed is the way your romantic partner feels about you, which is what has caused them to dump you. Now, there are many different factors at play here, so let's break it down. Breakups are primarily going to happen in two different scenarios. Number one, slowly over time. There are a series of events, things you say and do, or your ex's own issues, which lead to them losing emotional attraction. And on the other side, sometimes it's one singular event, something you say and do that is so intense, emotionally speaking, that hurts your partner in such a way that causes them to dump you on the spot. So let's break these two down. Okay, let's start with the first one, breakups that happen slowly over time. Because this is how it happens for most people. This is actually how most relationships come to an end. You see, most breakups are premeditated. Generally speaking, your ex emotionally checked out of the relationship months, sometimes even years prior to building up the courage to dump you. And you might be thinking, well, how can that be? You see, a lot of the times we think that the only person who's in pain is the person who got dumped, you. But sometimes the dumper, your ex who walked away, is in a lot of pain as well. I mean, ultimately, they're the ones who pulled the trigger on the relationship. And you must understand that for your ex to walk away was more than likely a decision that they've been marinating in their mind for a long time. Because when you've got time invested in someone, resources, finances, emotions, and you have a history, you spent many months or years, and you built that emotional attachment, it is going to be 10 times harder to walk away. And oftentimes an ex will give you many months and years to see if you change, see if the relationship can improve. And if things get worse and their emotional attraction still keeps dropping, then eventually they will leave you. So there are different reasons here that can cause your ex to lose attraction for you over time. So number one is going to be emotional attraction will drop over time due to consistent arguing, fighting, neglect, complacency. If you're a guy watching, this is when you start acting controlling, jealous, possessive, weak, needy. Okay, you become too relationship focused, you start failing your woman's tests. And what all of this does is makes her fall out of love with you because she can't trust in you to be a man. You're not leading the relationship. This will deeply wound a woman because she can't be feminine. She's going to have to take on a masculine role and protect and stand up for herself. So you're being masculine, she's being masculine, which causes a clash, which makes things worse. And a combination of these types of behaviors that you display over time is going to destroy the intimacy in a relationship, which is what will cause your ex's emotional attraction for you to drop. Because women fall in love with you slowly over time and they fall out of love with you slowly over time. And when she gives you chance after chance and she sees that things aren't improving, she doesn't feel the same way anymore, then when she's completely emotionally checked out and she sees there's no change in your behavior, then she will walk away. But for you, it will come as a shock because you're so focused on the relationship, not so much the emotional attraction, the health of the relationship. And for women, this can be when you start disrespecting your man, you start berating him, okay? You don't allow him to be the man in the relationship. You don't support him. You don't treat him with, you don't treat him well. And for a lot of guys, all that means is that you're feminine, you're sweet, you're soft-spoken. When you start being loud and rude, or you also neglect him and his needs. Okay, when he sees that, wow, every time I try and talk to her, nothing good comes from this. She's always having a go at me. She's always testing me. She's always pushing my boundaries. This is something that as well can push a lot of men to break up from a woman over time, because his own emotional attraction will also drop. So remember, men need to feel like they're successful at making the woman happy. Men need to feel that they're respected and looked up to in the relationship. Okay? And if a woman doesn't do a good job at that, he's going to lose emotional attraction. And for women, they want to feel protected, cherished. They want to feel safe and comfortable. They want to feel beautiful, heard and understood. And when a man fails to do that, over time, her emotional attraction for him will also drop. Okay? So this is going to be the first subsection within breakups that happen slowly over time. That is primarily what causes most relationships to fail. Okay, a combination of those behaviors. Now, the next factor that causes your ex to lose emotional attraction for you over time is that your ex has fallen out of limerence. They've seen the relationship for what it is, and they've come to the conclusion that those emotions and feelings they felt were from a place of fantasy, from lust, not from love. Therefore, they're ready to walk away because they analyze the relationship and they come to the conclusion you're not compatible, you don't have chemistry. Let me explain. You see, when a relationship starts, both you and your ex-girlfriend, okay, for you guys watching, you might think everything's going perfect because really that's what limerence is. You're both in fantasy stage. You're presenting your best selves to each other. And those emotions and feelings you encounter during the first few months or first few years of a relationship is going to come from your own idealization of who you want the other person to be. So even the way you love that person is flawed. Okay, it's not coming from reality, it's coming from your imagination. And limerence is something that can last between 6 months all the way up to 2-3 years. In some cases, it can be extended even longer. However, limerence isn't even going to last the same for you as it is for your romantic partner. In a 4-year relationship, you can still be in limerence on the 4th year, but by the 2nd year, your partner can fall out of limerence. And then they start to see reality for what it is. They start to look at their relationship and realize, we're just not compatible. You know, she might look at you and think, we don't have the same values. He doesn't want the same things out of life as me. We're not the same person. And that's going to cause her to struggle to connect with you on a deep emotional level. She might look at you and think, he's not even that attractive. He's probably like a 6. But when I was in limerence, I thought he was a 9. And this is the danger of going for someone that's not your type, getting involved with someone that you don't have the same values with. Because whether someone is good for you or not, if you spend enough time around them, you'll build an emotional attachment. But what happens for most couples is when one of them comes out of limerence and they see the relationship for what it is, they realize like, wow, I'm not compatible with my partner. We don't have the same values. I don't have the same belief system. He's not even what I want. If your ex thinks that, then they're going to lose emotional attraction for you slowly over time. Because once they come out of limerence, they're still going to stay in the relationship, but you will kind of notice maybe a shift in their behavior, something is off, until they make a decision to eventually dump you. But that is something that can most definitely cause a drop in emotional attraction. Another factor that can cause a drop in emotional attraction slowly over time is going to be due to the fact that your ex had unresolved trauma from either their childhood, a previous relationship, or they have severe mental health issues, okay, that they haven't addressed properly. Because there are certain people in this world, men and women, for the ladies watching, right? You want to avoid men like that too. There are certain people who are at a place in their life where they are truly incapable of getting into a committed relationship. All right? Because if somebody has personality defects, they're narcissistic, they're selfish, they're immature, or worse, they've got mental health issues, borderline personality disorder, and things as such, people like that are incapable of maintaining a long-term relationship. They will only be with you for the wrong reasons, out of loneliness, out of scarcity, out of unhappiness, out of fear of being alone. Typically, they say and do things to sabotage the relationship, and sometimes they can even push you away, causing you to be the one to dump them because they're too afraid to do it themselves. All right? Understand this. If your ex has unresolved childhood trauma, hatred towards their parents, okay, perhaps they grew up in an abusive home, one of the parents neglected them or was absent from their life, this can cause them to struggle to maintain an intimate connection with you. As I've mentioned, guys, if a woman grew up in a home, and it does happen, where she doesn't love or respect her father, he wasn't there for her, if she doesn't do any work on herself, she may very well struggle to look up to you as a man and respect you and know how to treat you or even appreciate you properly, because she never had that from her father. And that happens to a lot of men as well. A lot of men grow up, they don't have a good mother in their life who's present, or they don't have any understanding of how to even properly accept a good woman or treat a woman in their life. So they go for the wrong type of female. And they get into relationships with women they shouldn't be in. So it goes both ways. But when certain individuals have severe character flaws, personality flaws, mental health issues, and they get into a relationship, these are going to be the people that genuinely settle. They're with you for the wrong reasons. And sometimes they can hold on for many, many years, which means they won't fully commit or love you 100%. So you will notice they will stay with you, but eventually this will cause a drop in emotional attraction because they're not fully present with you. So once they build up the courage to walk away, they will. Okay, so that is something to watch out for. That does happen. Let's carry on with the next one. And finally, the final cause for a breakup that happens slowly over time is it's mutual. Yeah, there are some situations where the man and the woman sits down and they both know they should have never been in a relationship in the first place. This is going to typically come when there's low compatibility, values aren't aligned, low chemistry, there's no physical attraction on both ends. More like a transactional type relationship, but it's mutual. Therefore, the couple sits down and say, you know what, our feelings aren't involved, let's call it quits. And they walk away amicably. So, because there was never emotional intensity to begin with, it fades over time. Okay, because that's more like a friendship, right? Couples, they start off as friends, they get into a relationship, they try and make it work for a few months, for a few years, and then they both realize it ain't working. So, now that I've gotten that whole section out the way, let's move into the other one, which is the one you guys really want to pay attention to. As I mentioned at the beginning of the video, breakups can be caused two different ways. Slowly over time, as I've just been talking about, and instantly. And you might be thinking, well, Christian, how can that be? Because earlier you mentioned that your ex doesn't just wake up and decide to break up with you. Yeah, when everything's going well, when they need to make sure they made the right investment. However, there are situations when one singular event, something you say or do, can rupture and tear the trust your ex had in you, which caused them to break up with you. And this is going to happen when there is physical abuse, emotional abuse, cheating, threats, blackmail. You must understand, when you say or do something that crosses a boundary in such a way that hurts your romantic partner, so much so that they feel like the only escape to feel safe and comfortable is to dump you, then they're going to do it. And this does happen. And this is why men must have self-control. You must have mastery over your emotions. Because there are plenty of guys, and they get upset with a woman and they get violent. They're having an argument, it gets heated, they smash an object next to her head, or they grab the woman, they shake her, or they do physically abuse her. And that is something that will scare a woman. I mean, any woman has heard enough cases of that happen. So naturally, if she sees any indication that you're going to do that to her, that can really put the fear of God into her, to where she's going to want to dump you. Okay? And hey, there are women that also do things like that to men, and it does push them away as well. So understand that there are situations that can cause emotional attraction for you to drop instantly. Okay? Men and women that have a high self-esteem, if they're in a relationship and they think everything is going well and they find out that you betrayed them, you cheated on them, they're going to dump you right away. Because that's what people do when they've got dignity. Oh, you cheated on me? Goodbye. It's that simple. Oh, you're going to make a threat? Oh, you're going to emotionally abuse me? Oh, you're going to threaten to hurt me? Okay, goodbye. And they just walk away. They're still going to be hurt and they're still going to need to heal, but the emotional intensity of the relationship will never be the same because you've gone and damaged it. So those are the two different reasons by which an emotional attraction will drop. It can be over time, or it can be instantly in a few of the events that I just explained. So now this begs the question, well, will your ex come back? Because there are certain scenarios when an ex may regret the breakup and decide to rekindle things. And this is why you always want to go no contact. And primarily, the purpose of no contact is for you to heal, not to get an ex back. It's for you to live your life again as a single person, get back to enjoying your hobbies, get over grieving that relationship, do the work on yourself, overcome any of the challenges you faced or any of the mistakes you made that did push your ex away, and become a better version of yourself. Okay? For the guys, become a masculine man. For the woman, become a good feminine woman, right? And improve yourself. Now, go no contact just means you don't initiate any contact to your ex. You stop reaching out, you stop begging, you stop pleading, which is what a lot of people do after a breakup, and you just give them the breakup. You focus on yourself. Because understand that when an ex dumps you, it's pretty much going to be that something they've thought about for a long time, so they've already made their choice, or you've done something that hurt them so much that they don't want to hear anything you're saying, they just want to get out of it. Because understand, when an ex decides to break up with you, they're feeling relief. They're going to feel free, like finally I got rid of, she's going to think, oh, I got rid of him. For ladies, your ex is going to think I got rid of her. And they just want to be free. They want time to breathe and be away from you and be alone with their thoughts, with their feelings, because it's also going to be hard for them. And this is why begging and pleading doesn't work. And if they do come back, if you beg and plead, it's only going to be out of pity and shame for you, which means, yeah, fine, they might come back with you and stay with you for a short while, but they will eventually walk away because you're going to still display that neediness, which will smother them. And that's why it will always push an ex away even further. You have to let them go. Give them the breakup. Because oftentimes, an ex can realize after a few weeks or a few months, 'cause sometimes an ex can come back after 6 months, right? So an ex is going to need that time to decide, was the breakup the right choice for them? Okay? Because after they feel relief, as the weeks and months go on and they see that you don't reach out to them, as long as they still have an emotional attraction to you, they pair bonded with you, and they have chemistry and compatibility, they might think, you know what, I made it a wrong turn. Because now you're not chasing, you're not begging. They don't know if you moved on, and that can slowly start to build the emotional attraction back up again, because they start to reminisce about the good times you guys had and think, I should reach out and see what my ex is up to. Then it's up to you if you want to take them back or not. But because you went no contact, there's a very high chance that you might not want to take them back, because the whole point of no contact is you heal and you move on. And I'm not really a big proponent of getting an ex back, but I do understand that there are situations where couples do rekindle it and it does work. But it comes from having mutual compatibility and chemistry. It's generally when there was like immaturity, fights and arguments, a few ups and downs, misunderstandings, which caused a breakup. There was a lot of turmoil, and then you spend a few months apart, you both do work on each other, and you get back together. Yeah, as long as your core values are aligned, you both really like each other, and there's history, it can work out. But if there's infidelity and cheating, never. So that's why you want to go no contact, because you want to give them the time to decide for themselves if they made the right choice or not. Because they might break up with you and you don't hear from them for a year or two because they're done. But if they do come back, it can be because they think, oof, maybe I shouldn't have walked away. But understand that when your ex broke up with you, they're not thinking about you. They're thinking about them. They're thinking about their own feelings, their own emotions, the pain you caused them. And sometimes, after taking a few months to heal, an ex can realize, maybe the pain isn't so bad. Maybe I can reach out and rekindle things. And at that point, they're hoping that you give them a chance. And if an ex comes back and you choose to give them a chance, you want to talk about things and you want to make them make it up to you. Okay, because if they walked away from you once, there's a very high chance that they can still do it again if you make the same mistakes. But again, that's up to you if you want to do that. So in which cases will an ex come back? Well, an ex is either going to come back for the right reasons or the wrong reasons. Well, what are the right reasons? The right reason is only going to be what I've been saying. When an ex shares compatibility with you, chemistry, and there's some type of emotional attachment imprint that you guys still have on each other. So once they get through the relief and they start to wonder where they stand with you, that will slowly build back up the emotional attraction, and then they'll reach out to you. Typically, that's going to be the ex that reaches out to you because they've regretted their decision and they would like to rekindle things. But they're not doing it from a place of weakness or insecurity. They're doing it from a genuine place of concern for you. Hey, maybe we can work things out again. I thought about it and I do care about it. Because sometimes you need to lose someone, right, to really know if you care about them. Okay, sometimes you're not going to value or appreciate what you have until you've lost it, until it's gone from your life. And sometimes your ex needs that with you to really make that decision. So give them the breakup. As long as they've got their core values aligned with you and they really like you physically, you've got history, you've got years with each other, and generally speaking it was a good relationship, but you just did a few things to push them away, give them time, and if you go no contact, there's a very high chance they could come back. Now, on the other hand, when an ex comes back for the wrong reasons, this is going to be when your ex has low self-esteem or lacks integrity. Because as I teach on this channel, there's been plenty of scenarios when an ex has left you because of their own fault, nothing to do with you. They monkey branched it on you, they cheated on you, they betrayed you. They ran off, lined up a replacement, it didn't work out. Now they're coming back out of scarcity because it didn't work out for them. But they know you're a good person, so they want to come back and temporarily use you to get over the pain of their new fling. In that case, you never ever take an ex back. If your ex cheated on you and you want them back, reach out with your right hand and slap yourself in the face for me, because you should never ever want that, ever. Okay, if your ex has that low self-esteem where they're lonely, they've got nothing going for them, and they're coming back for those type of reasons, then you never ever take them back. And more than likely this is going to be the ex that wasn't compatible with you, that didn't share the same values, didn't want the same things out of life as you. You were very difficult. You both just didn't get along. If that type of ex comes back to you, just understand they're doing it because they've got nothing going for them in their life. They're unhappy, they're lonely, they're miserable, and they miss the idea and the fantasy of the relationship. And they're just coming back to settle and use you temporarily. Do not let that happen. But on the flip side, as I mentioned earlier, as long as you both have compatibility, chemistry, there was a level of respect in the relationship, but you just did a few things, like maybe you were needy, you pushed that woman away, you were insecure, and she just took some time to heal by herself, and then she realized she made the wrong choice and she wants to come back to you, and you see that it's genuine, you can hear it in her voice and you can see it in her actions, then that's up to you to give her another chance if you want to. So this is the topic for today, guys. That's the video. I just wanted to talk a little bit about breakups because I know it affects a lot of men and women, and a lot of people are heartbroken. And if you take the time to understand the different reasons and the root cause of breakups, or why relationships come to an end, then you can kind of prepare yourself for the next relationship. You won't be too shocked or surprised when an ex dumps you if you do certain things wrong. Okay? But it's also recognizing not only your own part in the breakup, but your ex's part in the breakup as well. Because there are situations where it's never your fault. They cheat on you, they line up a replacement, that's never your fault. That's because they don't have any integrity or any character. But not every relationship ends because of that. As I mentioned throughout the video, there are many different factors and other reasons that come into play. And that's why you must understand all of them if you are to understand your breakup and any other one you do suffer moving forward. So with that said, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Give it a like. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, if you're a new viewer. Hope you all have a wonderful day. And if you would like to book a coaching call or reach out to me privately, share your situation with me, suggest any video topics, the email will be down in the description and in the About tab on the YouTube channel. So with that said, I'll see you guys in the next one.